All right, so we need to talk about static files. And what are static files? Well, they're definitely different from the media files. What we've termed media files are things that users can upload to our system, whether it's just us inside of that admin interface or whether we actually build out something for users to be able to upload something. I consider anything media in the Django world as something that is sort of connected to the database and somehow and could be uploaded by the user. Whereas static files are things that mostly I, as the designer of the website, it's like, I want this thing to be here. Now I can change it if I want to. I can change those static files, but I don't want it to be as accessible as, just a database change here to switch this and that. No, it's like something a little bit more foundational. So for example, this picture of me here, this little logo that's up here, if someone clicks on the resume, getting that PDF, these are all examples of static files. Later, when we add some custom CSS, that's going to be a static file. So the question is, how do we get that to show up in Django? Now, the great news is that Django makes it really easy. We don't have to add any special thing to our URL, urls.py, no like extra path or anything. And if we go to our settings and scroll all the way down, we already have a static URL. So what does it take? First, we have to go into one of our apps, like for example here, with Portfolio. Let's say I want to add a picture of me. So just like we do with a template, for example, it's a really good practice to say, okay, inside of this portfolio, I'm going to make a static folder. Make sure you spell that correctly, static. And you have to name it static. If you name it something else, you technically can go to settings and say what that name is, but it's just much easier if you just say static inside of your app. And then I'm going to do / and do the name of the app again, Portfolio. And then I'm going to do, well, let me just add those two there. So you can see in Portfolio, I have static, and then inside of Portfolio, that's where I'm going to add like my image. So I put on my desktop this nice picture of me with my blonde hair. This was a great summer in Japan when I dyed my hair. It just felt like a whole new me. And I want this centered on my website. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this into this Portfolio folder, okay? And then once this is in here, I'm going to go back to my home page, okay? And really, all that it takes is an image tag. And then for the source, I'm going to say source here is equal to, and then all I have to do is do the curly brackets with parentheses inside of them. And I'm just going to say static. And then I'm going to specify the name of what it is that I'm trying to bring in here. So in this case, it's going to be portfolio / squareblonde.jpg, I believe it. The spelling's got to be exactly right. So I might even, for example, click rename just so that I can copy this exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that, come back to my home, go ahead and paste that in there. So I'm going to save this. And there's one last step here is whenever you're going to use static inside of a template, you have to add a little curly bracket with parentheses or percentage signs and say load static. Okay, you don't have to do any parentheses or stuff like that, but just throw a load static at the top of a file somewhere, and then you can use this static that we see here. Okay, so if I go back to the home page, okay, hit enter on that, boom, it's that easy. That's my image there. And if you want to see where the image is, you can like right click and say copy image address. And if I paste this in, you can see it's /static / portfolio square blonde. Just like we had with the media URL, I could go to down here in the settings and change this to hello. Okay, so that if I reload this, it doesn't work. But if I go to hello, all of a sudden it shows up, and it will still work. Like if I go to the home page, it's smart enough to know I've changed it to hello, and if I copy this and paste it up there, it's going to say hello. But again, hello is probably a really bad name for static. I'm just going to keep it as static in order for that to show up. Okay, so pretty cool that's there. The other one thing that I want to show you is how you can share like a PDF, for instance, like something that you want somebody to download. So I'm going to go back to Atom. And let's go to our home page. And in this case, I'm going to do an A tag. All right. So an A tag usually links to somewhere else. Let me put the ending one there. But in this case, we're just going to have it link to an actual file on our website here. So I'm going to say something like resume. And I'll say that the href is equal to, very similar to what we have down below, percentage signs, static, and then inside of quotes, I'm going to say portfolio slash, and I haven't brought in my resume yet, so I've got to do that. So I'm going to take my little resume, bring it in here, and I'm going to say resume.pdf. Okay, so I'll save this, reload my home page, and you should notice it's down here at the bottom, this little resume. If I click on this, dun, 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 hey, it shows my resume. And this is different depending on your browser. Like some browsers will just instantly download the PDF. Chrome says, hey, I'm smart enough to recognize this is a PDF file, and I'm going to open the little PDF viewer, and then users at this point can, print it, download it, whatever it is. But yeah, that's how you can share files with people if you want them to be able to download and access them. Okay. So we have a lot of the guts of the website here. There's one thing that we're missing, and that's that if we go to the blog, first off, there's no link to the blog on our homepage, but if we go to /blog, it'd be really nice to be able to read one of the blog posts on their own page. And so we're going to talk about how to do that in the next lecture.